to have some questions if they have some questions. Mention one point and then open for discussion. Yeah. So I just mentioned one point, and then I hope to receive your comments and ideas, and if there is question. Once in Lopiano, I was visiting the house of priests, and we had very nice discussion. One of the ideas that came to my mind was that in the course of history, God has sent different messengers, different books. He has spoken to us in different languages. So we have thought these are different messages. We have thought these are different religions. But my understanding is that in the end of time, we would have only one school, and that is a school of God. We may have different teachers, we may have different departments, but there is only one authority and one syllabus and one school, and that's a school of God. That is my hope, that is my dream of future, that is my understanding of what is going to happen. And it's up to us to bring it earlier or delay it. God is not imposing, but He has the plan, and He has mentioned, asked us to work together. And we are very grateful that we see many people now are working for not only dialogue, but for unity. And a historical moment that needs to be remembered is the visit of the Pope of Grand Ayatollah Sistani. I think that was very historical, and that gives us lots of hope that these are going to happen and become more often and lead to collaboration, working together. Because if Jesus and the 12th Imam are going to be together as we believe, the mindset of the community should be prepared. If people are not prepared, they cannot accept Jesus to work with a Muslim Imam, or Muslim cannot accept Muslim Imam working with Jesus unless converting him to Islam. They cannot understand these things. So we need to work to that direction. We see signals from God here and there. We need to work together. So we thank God for the gift of love, respect, trust, and unity that we have received, and we humbly request Him to guide us and use us as His agents for unity. Amen.
Thank you for this personal journey. There's nothing which can speak more than personal experience. So these are not just ideas about dialogue and beyond. It's in the religious dialogue, it's about collaboration, it's about developing a culture of working together, praying together, journeying together, and flying together, with the 2 wings and the tail. So thank you very much. Now we understand really that our doctrines should not divide us. We have only one God, and God is one. God is not divided. And because God is not divided, we should not divide or be divided. That's a clear message. And we should not fight for God. I always tell the student that you don't have to defend God. God will defend Himself. Okay? Because the theologians, they are trained to defend. No, they say they want to defend faith, but they mean we defend God. No, God will defend Himself. Yeah. So what is needed is really a culture of working together. You know, and that's the basis of all the talk of today. So let us take few questions. We hope by just 10 minutes, and then we'll allow time for prayer. And I will request that we wait for each other for the meal. Okay? Are we together? So we wait for each other for the meal after prayer. Good. Sister Jane, a question.
I have had also relations with the Anglican Christians, with Mennonites in Canada. We have lots of relation with the Mennonites in Canada and US, and with the Anglican Church, the conference in Oxford with the Protestant Church. We have relation with the Archbishop of Canterbury. But um, most of my contacts has been with the Catholics, not because I was not open to that. We have lots of contacts, lots of good relations, especially with the Mennonites. We have very good ongoing relation. But with the Catholics has been maybe for practical reasons, and also maybe for some spiritual, theological, issues. We have worked together more. So I don't want to say that I had difficulty with non-Catholics, but with Catholics, Shia and Catholics have, maybe lots of things also in common, like, you know, spirituality, or, Lady Mary, although all Christians love Mary, but the way, maybe, or concept of martyrdom, hierarchy, that exists. So some people have highlighted that there are more maybe commonalities between Shia and Catholics, but there are also some commonalities with other Christians. So I think with every Christian we can work for unity, and with every Muslim we can work for unity, as long as they have made this personal choice. This is not doctrinal choice. If a Catholic or Protestant or Orthodox or Sunni or Shia, if they make this choice that they want to work for unity, we can work. Because the main thing is openness of the heart for seeing the other person as a faithful person, and being happy to work for unity.
Okay. Let's hear Pastor here, and then William there. Okay. Yes.
God is good. My name is Pastor Daniel. I'm chairman of the state. Right now, my daughter was told me my mother that I call. I'm happy today. I would like something to read. and we have been meeting every Tuesday, Christian and Muslim. And I have a question. And this has been a problem all the time when you go to the streets, like you see at other places, where you find a group of men, Muslim and Christian, they criticize each other religion and they try to defend themselves. Is a time called that happened in our area and there was a lot of conflict. How can we assist them for the, let me say, for the peace? Because when they go home, conflict comes in. My religion is good, your religion is not good. How can they help you? People understand.
Yes. I think one step is education. If they know even about their own faith better and what their great leaders from their own faith have said, then hopefully they will change their behavior. Education is very important. And secondly, to see by themselves, love and unity among people of different faiths. So if some of you with some Muslims can establish friendship, then when they see this, automatically it affects them. Invite them for meal. No religious discussion. Just speak about nature. Speak about play together. Because many of problems are not necessary. Many of problems are just bias or lack of knowledge or feeling insecure. Because when feel insecure, you become harsh because you think the only way to survive is to be harsh. But when you are confident, you are relaxed. If you are a person who is just new to teaching or you're new to preaching, anyone who asks questions, you are troubled. Why they ask questions? Maybe he wanted to show in front of everyone that I don't know. Yeah? But if you are experienced, you are happy people ask questions because when they ask questions, it gives opportunity for further discussion. So our personal feeling, our feeling of being void or not, then appears in being soft or harsh. So let them experience love, friendship, and feel secure. This is the most important thing. If people feel secure, they open up. If they feel worried, they close.
So, because education is very important, that's why we have the summer school, and this is every year. So, if you could invite, again, it's a personal choice. Those just to, and we don't debate. We just present the faith of the other. Actually, it's the others presenting his faith, and then the others ask questions for understanding. It's not about debate. And more than that, there is that living together and interaction. After 3 weeks, there is some transformation. Okay, so that is one. But we have also a program for Islamic studies. Yeah. So there are opportunities. And I've heard about your group, Kemaiko, and with those of the University of Tani, we shall see from here where do we go. And of course, we are ready to collaborate in as much we can, okay, in a little way. Okay, and I said the mission is to bring people to God. Yeah, yeah. So that's so we see how we can at our own level how we can support and join together. Okay, good. So let us take only one question. Because our sisters, they have another program to the Shia mosque in Lavington, So maybe William, that's the last question, and then we have prayer, time for prayer, and then we need to get.
God is good. My name is Williams. When I was very young, before I went to the seminary, even during my 9 to 10 years formation in seminary, whenever I went to the church, I always be attentive to the church, such that I make sure that I write down the sermons, the bodies, and some of them I still have them with me today. So this is another gathering in which that I discovered and I was forced to write everything down since yesterday. Dr. Shomali has been giving us lectures, and I'm strengthened. And I'm very sure too that other people here are also strengthened. So thank you very much, Doctor. Why did I begin in that way? In the Bible, or even in other teachings, we are taught or we have read that the spirit moves or blows wherever he wishes. And that is what we have experienced today. Now, I have been thinking when I was asked to come for this program and my bishop, that what can we actually, what this program, why me? Because it's actually greater than what we have received. It's actually greater than what I can go and impact. Now, one of the aims or the goals of our gathering here is that as human beings, humanity, how can we live together in the society that God has created all of us into? And we need peace. That how can we actually live in peace? Some of our doctrines, I'm talking from a Catholic perspective now, and even my little studies in Islam, I've come to know that in society that we live together, we interact, we also intermarry. There is marriage. This question I want to ask yesterday, but I was not satisfied, or it was not actually supposed to be answered for me. That for us to live in peace in the society, we have young ones, ladies and guys who are just growing up. And I've said that spirit blows wherever it wishes. As a Catholic or as a Christian, I may see a lady that I'm actually interested in, that I wish to marry. I can't marry in any so, but it's happening. It's happening. So, and I asked this girl, but because she's a Muslim, and in Muslim or in Islam, we have been taught, maybe I'm starting to be corrected, that you are not allowed as a Muslim woman or lady to marry outside your faith, either Christian, Jews, or any other faith. And as well, even in Catholic, if you want to marry outside Catholic, there is what you have to go through. We call it mixed marriage. Maybe our ladies want to marry outside the church, that's not going to be practiced. I mean, we don't give room that he should be practicing other faiths. So the children that is going to give birth to, she has the obligation to bring them up in that faith. Now my question is this: for this lecture, how beautiful it is, for it not to go in vain, or not be, because you have not spoken from book. This is when you what you inspire to say, and I believe the Spirit of God will actually directed you. Now, is it possible to actually to put into practice all this what you have told us? even in our doctrinal teachings, especially for Muslim, for Islam, and for Christianity. When I say Christianity now, Catholics. Inheritance, what we know is that if that lady who is a Muslim wants to marry outside the faith, she is not going to have rights to the inheritance of his parents. So this is my question. Thank you.
And that will be the last question, as shows to allow time for prayer, for meal, and then our sisters to go to the other program.
When it comes to religious law, whether it is, for example, Islamic Sharia or Jewish law or some of the canon law or sacraments, it's not by our choice or preference to decide about the law. It's a technical, methodological issue of understanding the law. When it comes to ethics, to theology, to spirituality, we are not that much strict, because we don't need to follow just the letters of the word. We have intellect, we have hadith, lots of things. When it comes to Sharia, we are like lawyers, yeah? You have to go by the letter of the words, but there is possibility of new understanding. Even, we have ijtihad, so sometimes, for example, in some cases, different jurists have different understanding. So, maybe, of course, we know that some types of marriage is possible, some are not according to the most of scholars, but these are things that are possible, that maybe someone comes with a new understanding, a jurist, a reliable jurist comes with a different understanding. But none of this should stop us from unity. So till we have different understanding about these issues, each of us has to follow his or her faith and tradition and law, but still we can be very open, very much loving each other and working for unity. So I don't need to compromise for my unity work about my other aspects of faith. Okay? I have to be holistic, I have to be consistent, I have to be genuine. I don't want to forget part of it for the sake of others. But at the same time, we are open. In the Shia tradition, we say ijtihad is always open. So any grand ayatollah, any grand jurist would go back to the sources, would not say, I have to follow my teacher or my, for example, predecessor. They go back and they do their ijtihad. So some of the issues are possible to change. Some of the issues are very obvious. They may not change. But it's a technical issue. Till we come up with a different understanding of any particular issue, we have to follow the best scholarship available. So we follow the best scholarship available, but things can change by the coming of new ideas, etc. But what is important is that our work together doesn't need any compromise. Our work for unity doesn't need to ignore your law or ignore your theology. With everything as it is, we can work for unity. If there are other changes that can facilitate, better. If not, still, we can work for unity. And also you should know, as a side note, that sometimes maybe it's a blessing that we don't have interreligious marriage. You know why? Because nowadays many marriages lead to divorce. And now if one side is Muslim, one side is Christian, it can lead to conflict between Muslims and Christians because of these two persons not getting along. Nowadays, even people from the same faith background Unfortunately, sometimes they have problem. The rate of divorce is very high. So when they have different faith, if they are really taking faith seriously, if they marry, maybe in the first few years it's okay, but it's when it comes to upbringing children, other things, it's very make things very complicated. So we shouldn't think there is interreligious marriage, it's necessarily bringing unity to communities. It can bring unity. It can also bring lots of conflicts in future for families, for children, for the community. So we leave it to the best scholarship of the law, which can change. And we know that it's not necessarily what God has is knowledge. We try. The best thing is to follow knowledge, methodology, academic circles in every field. If by the passage of time things change, we are happy. If it doesn't change, still we are fulfilling our responsibility. But a scholarship is very important. Not that every person allows himself to issue fatwa or verdicts, it's a matter of decades of study, decades of research and discussion in the academic circle so that these things develop.
So, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we cannot take more questions.
Can we have, Sister Shahnat? Can we have the books?
Yeah,
I want to give you some books.
So just